Adam Stock in the house. Good to spend some time with you, buddy. How you feeling today?
Good.
Awesome.
Had a really good morning.
We're going to talk about something that's not a break from the norm for you, which is money. You spend a good bit of your life talking about cash, but most of the time with adults. And what's been a shift as of late has been your dedication to kids, specifically ages 10 to 15 with your Money Monday program. So, dude, first of all, let's start with what is Money Monday?
Yeah. Money Mondays is a series of Zoom calls with kids to teach them about money and finance.
Yeah. And why did you start this? What was the impetus?
hmm So, back in March when COVID started and the kids were home from school, remote learning, I was concerned. The quality of the remote learning in the spring was really horrendous. And I just didn't know over the summer, like, what was the fall curriculum or effectiveness going to look like. Good news is it's been pretty good, but I didn't know that at the time. And I was hearing a lot of victim talk, like, what are we going to do? And, the kids aren't going to get a good education this year. And I was just like, listen, I decided I want them to learn, and I want to be part of the solution. And so I want all my kids to know about money. It's not something that we teach in school, but it's something that everybody needs to learn about because almost everybody deals with money in some shape or form. And so I decided I'm going to teach Eliana and Maya, my two older children, my daughters. And then when I decided that I was going to teach them about money and finance, I thought, well, if I'm going to teach them, I might as well do it as a Zoom call and invite some of our neighbors' kids and friends' kids. And then I just started getting excited about it. And as a result, we had 13 sessions. So 13 Mondays. We just finished yesterday, the 13th session. And I think we averaged about 18 kids per week for that 13 weeks. So that was pretty good.
Yeah, it was incredible. I was so joyful every time. I mean, it's kind of a pain in the butt. Anything in the schedule is a pain in the butt, right? Like anything that we're obligated to. And yet, even though I resisted it at times, like, oh, we had to get back home to be on the call, or that we had to get on the call from the road, or whatever it might be, every time we were doing it, I was like, this is so good. I'm so glad that Adam's leading this, because this would not be happening if you weren't taking the lead here. Finances are important. Why are we not teaching that in school?
Yeah. And by the way, like, Tiger was on the Money Mondays call, just in case, for connecting the dots purposes.
Yes, yes, yeah, he was there.
Yeah.
Thank you for connecting that dot.
Yeah. um, why don't we teach it in school? I don't have a great answer. I think that some schools are starting to teach more financial literacy. I know at the local high school, there's a personal wealth elective, but it isn't an elective. And I don't have a great answer. Maybe because I don't have a great answer.
Yeah. What types of things did you decide to cover? Because there's an endless supply of information here that you could provide these young champions, but what'd you pick?
Yeah. So the topics that we covered were just an introduction to wealth and finance, like some basic fundamentals of saving more than you spend, and why do people save money, and why is it useful to have money. Talked about that, talked about habits, and then moved into some more higher level, like investing in stocks, investing in mutual funds, investing in real estate. As a matter of fact, yesterday, um, one of as part of our final class, the kids presented summaries of what they learned and commented on what their favorite class was. And I think the most popular class was Aaron Amucha Steggy. He was one of the guests.
Yeah.
he talked about real estate, and the kids loved that session. So we had one on investing in real estate. The one before that was housing. So, like, what are the pros and cons of owning versus renting? We did one on credit and credit cards, credit scores, and we did one on taxes. We did one on insurance. We did one on giving, and I think I caught most of them. It,
Why was Aaron's class so popular?
well, first of all, he's really successful. So, like, you mentioned that he had like 1,000 houses or something like that, and that
Right.
he's like, yeah, a couple weeks ago, I had about 100 houses on one day. I'm like, it was some crazy, it was something crazy. Like,
Yeah.
well, I bought 10 houses on that day. Like, I think it's just jaw dropping.
Yeah.
And then Aaron, he's just really down to earth, and he's for his success, he's extremely humble.
He is so humble.
He talked about his dad and how he got involved in that. How his dad was in real estate and he got interested in that, and um, his first properties, like he walked through that so that the kids understood that this wasn't just some overnight
Yeah.
success.
That's
That
correct.
that it's just happened and it's hard work. And then he showed one of his houses. He showed this beautiful house that he owns in, I think it's in Austin. It was basically like a palace, and he's renting it out. He showed the Airbnb, and it was awesome. And then he also showed one of his flips, so he
Yeah.
was able to walk through the the flip of this is what it looked like beforehand, and then these are the things that I did for it. This is how much I bought it for. This is how much I sold it for. So the kids really got an idea of. We talked about the different ways that you can make money investing in real estate,
Hmm.
and then we also talked about entrepreneurship. So that was another popular class. I invited a couple of my friends who are business owners to talk about entrepreneurship, and those were the topics.
Yeah. Let's talk about the giving one for a second because, first of all, you're a generous donor. You've supported Front Row Foundation. I know that you support a variety of organizations. We've talked about that. Your commitment to sharing your wealth with the groups and the communities and the people that you believe in and want to support. So let's set this up because we actually have a clip that we want to share that we'll add in here. But maybe you can tee this up. I know you know the clip I'm talking about. Talk about that giving episode and then tee up the clip here.
Right. So one of the things that we talked about in the class is there's four different places that money can go. It can either go to spend, it can go to taxes, it can go to save and invest, or it can go to giving. And that was a mantra that I repeated over and over. So the kids had those four buckets. And so towards the end of the series, we did a segment on giving, and I said initially, like, hey, if I gave you $100,000, I want you to write down who you would give it to. And then I think that I adjusted it to 10,000. So some of the kids are going off of a 10,000 number and some of them off of a 100,000 number. But it was really interesting to see, like, where they chose to give the money. We talked about how where people choose to give money is based on your values, and then how some people chose to give all their money to one, and how other kids chose to spread it out. So that was really interesting. We had some good conversation about that. So the clip that you're going to show is about them after they wrote it down, sharing the where they had decided to give the money to.
Yeah. So we'll cut to that clip now and you guys can listen in and then we'll be back in a second. All right. So Adam, how did you feel when the donation was going to go to Front Row Dads?
It was just so fun because obviously, like, Maya, it's my daughter who said that she doesn't know, like, Front Row Foundation is a non-for-profit, Front Row Dads. So we had talked earlier about Tiger and how you started Front Row Foundation. I think she
Yeah.
just got it. She got it a little mixed up. But then it was just so cute that she said, "I would like to give $20,000 to Front Row Dads because my dad's in it." And obviously, she's seen me, go to retreats and be really committed and involved in Front Row Dads since its inception. And that was just that was. There were a few pieces throughout the series that like really made my heart melt,
Mm, mm.
and that was one of them.
Did anything shock you about the giving piece? Did anything really put you on your heels, or was anything really unexpected? Or did you kind of predict where they were going to go in their comments?
Yeah, I didn't really know where people were going to give their money to. I didn't really have a good sense of what people cared about or what they saw in the world. So I don't think that anything like shocked me per se, but it was just really interesting to hear how kids are thinking about philanthropy, and it's very important to me. I what I say to my kids very frequently is having money equals responsibility, and it's responsibility to help others who don't have what we have or who are struggling in different ways.
Yeah.
So I think they come out of the womb knowing that money equals responsibility, and giving to charity is a very big part of our family. And we have rituals around that, which I could share at some point if you're interested.
Yeah.
And
Please.
and so yeah, that was a really important segment to me. We spent a lot of time talking about. There was a lot of emphasis on building wealth, right? There was a lot of emphasis on, well, why do we build wealth? And I think sometimes what's lost in that mix is the giving part of having money and the
Yeah.
importance of giving.
Tell us about those rituals for your family.
Sure. So two main rituals. I would say one is on Friday night. My family is Jewish, so we frequently will light candles and have some rituals on Friday night. And one of them is we all go around a circle. We have a quarter. We have what's called a tzedakah box, and all of the kids say what they're grateful for that week, and they put a quarter in the tzedakah box, and then I write down in a like really nice wood bound journal what everybody says, so that we can look back and see several years of gratitude in that. And the word in the word for charity, tzedakah, that I mentioned, the root word is justice, tzedek. So I've always found that really, really neat and somewhat extraordinary about Judaism is that the word for charity is justice. That those are so interlinked, and that's one of the rituals. Then the other ritual is, and I've only done this with my daughters. This year, I'll start doing it with my oldest son. At their birthday, we give them money to give to charity. So we have a donor advised fund and a giving fund. And so we have them do presentations for our whole family. So they research a charity and then they put a presentation together about why they want their money this year to go to that charity.
Wow. I love that, man. This is the kind of stuff I love about these conversations is it really challenges my thinking about what conversations are we having in the home around these subjects. I also think what's great about this, Adam, is number one, when you ask kids where they would give that money, it does reveal their values. It just says, this is what I care about right now, or this is what I'm concerned about. So if you want to get to know your kids, that's a great way to have the dialogue. Number two, I really love the ritual aspect of whatever you're doing, no matter how seemingly, insignificant the amount, a quarter, whatever it is, bringing, cash to the conversation and talking about, what's important to you. And also not just telling your kids about giving. But what I love about your process is that you give your kids money, you're showing them giving, and then you're asking them to pay this forward and to tell you what's important to them. To me, that what this is, the beauty of all this is that you really bring back the values into all the conversations. What do you care about? What's in your heart? Right? What do you see in the world? Where is there a need? And everything becomes an educational process when you look at it that way. It all becomes engaging. It all becomes
Mhm.
a multiplier of goodness. I think it's fantastic what you're up to, man.
Thank you. I have one other story to share. And if it doesn't fit, then you can edit it out.
Share away, man. I
But
bet you will keep it in.
a few years ago, I started a social experiment, and I had heard this idea several years prior from my rabbi at my synagogue, and he talked about when he went downtown to Chicago, he would fill his pockets with quarters, and then whenever somebody was asking for money, he would give them a quarter. And so I started doing that with dollar bills, and so I keep a big stack of dollar bills in my car, and so when I'm driving and I'll get off the expressway and there will be somebody with a sign and going from car to car, which we have quite a lot of that in Chicago. Every single person I'll give money to. And before that, and I think we all have caught ourselves in this before. Somebody approaches you, you look away. Somebody approaches you, you say, "No, I don't have any money," even though you do, right? And what I thought to myself is, if every person that I give a dollar to, if I do that the whole year, it's not going to be that much money,
Mhm.
right? Like it might end up being $75 or $100. And I mean, so I think that accomplished a couple of things. One of the things is we can justify our way out of not giving to people
Yes.
by saying, "Oh, well, they're going to spend it on alcohol or cigarettes or drugs," but they might not. It might help them with towards something that's important. And so it's such a little amount of money that even if I caught 3 out of 75 people that were using it for food, that would still be worthwhile.
Mm. Yeah.
Right? And then the second thing is it definitely allowed me to be more empathic, generally speaking. And I would say, and Melinda would concur, that that's not usually a big that's I'm not usually good at that. Empathy is not something that comes really naturally to me, and so I need to work on that. And when I give somebody a dollar and I look them in the eye, I acknowledge their humanity, and I recognize that they weren't born that way. Like there's a story there of what happened, and they weren't always this way. They didn't go to high school and then go on the street with a sign. Like they probably had a job and they probably lost the job and maybe they have a mental health issue, right? But just acknowledging that instead of turning away from it,
Yeah.
I think that it's really helpful, and it opened me up a little bit. And again, it's not a big money financial commitment. And then I do the same thing when I go on vacation. I put in my wallet a whole bunch of dollar bills, and then when I'm walking down the street and my kids see it, right? If I miss somebody, they say, "Hey, Dad,
You missed this guy. Yeah.
this yeah, and then I'll give them the dollar, and then they'll give it to the person." So that's been really a neat thing, and I feel like it accomplishes a lot of things.
Yeah. To me, what I hear is that this is how we live daily, that this is what we do as a routine. This is habitual. These are decisions that we make about how we're going to support our local community, and about not looking away, but looking within, looking directly at what surrounds us, and asking what are we going to do to contribute to this. I think that's great. Let's talk a little bit about so if a guy's listening right now and saying, hey, this all sounds awesome, would have been cool to know about Money Monday. The good news is that you have offered to do, essentially, like, I don't know if you and I didn't talk about how to position this or how to talk about it, but what it seems like to me is you took 13 weeks of what you just did, and you're taking the best of that, and you're bringing it into a program that we're rolling out in January. And we were going to do this just for Front Row Dads, but then we said, hey, let's open this up to everybody, and let's make this a donation. So the spirit of giving, around the holidays, you can jump into this course if you want. It's for kids ages 10 to 15. And is it 3 weeks?
3 weeks.
3 weeks.
Three Mondays in January.
3 Mondays. And how long is each Monday?
They're 1 hour calls.
So 3 hours. We're talking 3 hours to give, some new insights, some new stories. And also, because there's other kids there, at least what I found is that this wasn't just an adult preaching at the kids. Like, the kids are engaged, they're talking, they're sharing stories, they're writing. There's the worksheets that you have where they're filling in the blanks and they're participating, in this program. Let's talk a little bit about that for a minute. So I'm giving some clues, but tell from your perspective, Adam, like, why are you excited about it? Why would somebody want to go, and how would they know if this is right for them?
Well, first of all, you have to have kids who are between the ages of 10 to 15.
There you go.
I was talking to one of the Front Row Dads the other day, and we were talking about it, and he's like, yeah, my oldest is 5. I'm like, okay, well, the good news is that I've got lots of kids. And so, like, I'm planning to do this again
Yeah.
for the other 3 kids as they grow up. And so, like, in my life outside of doing Money Mondays, I have a wealth management firm, the Next Level Planning Group, and I generally work with people who are successful and who have substantial wealth, or who are on their way to that. And when I really get real with them and I say, what do you worry about? A lot of their worries aren't about, am I going to have enough money to retire, or am I going to have enough to do this? Like, the real worries are my kids going to have the same values around money as I do?
Mm-hmm.
And what's going to happen when my kids inherit this money? Are they going to be good stewards of that wealth? Those are like the real big, deep things. So if those things resonate with you, and also you recognize that maybe in your kids' school they are not going to get a financial curriculum, and you'd like them to get some financial learning, there's going to be lots packed into the 3 1 hour sessions.
Yeah. So the way it'll work, guys, is, and what we should tell everybody now. So if this all feels cool and helpful for your 10 to 15-year-old, that all you got to do, first step, is text the word wealth to 512-379-6952. So text the word wealth to 512-379-6952. That's step one. And I'll repeat that again in just a moment if you've got to go get something, to take that down. But we'll get you the info of how to get registered, how to sign up, how to be a part of this. So that's step one. When you register, and this is a donation. So Adam's donating his time. And the request was that you make a suggested donation of $50, correct?
I don't remember what it
Oh,
was.
maybe it was
It was
150.
$150 for
150,
the three
because it was $50 per
per session.
Monday, right?
150.
$50 per Monday. Killer deal. And Adam and I said, hey, we should make this an amount that just makes tons of sense, right? If you've done piano lessons or any other type of, right, private tutoring, a specialized course. I know we've paid hundreds of dollars for things like that. This is a $150 donation to Front Row Foundation.
Tax deductible, unlike your
Tax
Bible
deductible.
foundation.
And something I'll mention about Front Row Foundation is that it's a 100% of your dollar goes to the program, goes to help the people at Front Row Foundation, because we have something in the charity called a 100% promise. So a group of private donors cover all of our overhead cost, so that all the donations from public cash goes directly to support our recipients. Front Row Foundation, for anybody who doesn't know, helps kids and adults with a life-threatening illness to experience the live event of their dreams from the front row. And then we use that day as a metaphor of how we might be able to live every day, no matter how many days we have. So we are a group of moment makers at Front Row Foundation and bringing light to people in their darkest hours. So for $150, your son or daughter, or both, that's right. Could you have two people?
Yep, it's a family cost.
Family pass.
So if you have two or three kids that are in between
That's it.
15 years old, then 150 gets you two tick gets you.
$150 gets you in. In fact, if you wanted to, grab your neighbor's 11-year-old, bring them over to the house on Mondays and have them sit in too. Why not? You'll get access for $150. Whatever it takes to get you there, guys. This supports the charity. It's going to be an incredible program, and it's going to be in January. Do we know the start date,
Yep,
Adam?
it's the 11th, the 18th, and the 25th.
There you go.
Those are
And
the
if
two
somebody
Mondays at
if
4
somebody
p.m.
wanted to, Adam, could they make the donation and then get the recordings?
Sure. Yeah, you don't have to make all three classes if or you don't have to make any of the classes. If you want to make a donation and we can send you the recordings, or if you can make two out of three of the classes or one out of three, that's fine. You don't have to make all three of them.
Yeah. I would say do it even if you can't make them, guys. But I will say that, having your son or daughter present at the computer with the video on makes all the difference in the world, because this is live and it's engaging and it's interactive, and they can participate, they can write things down, they can answer questions. And I think that having Tiger sit there, it was in our kitchen, he was on the iPad and he's participating, and we're listening to this as it's happening, was really cool. Because even if he can't repeat it all, like even if he's not able to like spit it all back out word for word, like here's what a mutual fund is, we're creating a base. I know he's getting some building blocks behind all this, right? And he's creating some interest in this. His favorite takeaway from me that he told me was the idea of, if I can put off what I want for today, I can have something even cooler tomorrow. So that idea, think about how many other areas that translates to, like even food. It just translates over to, like, if I can put off eating that sweet, I'll have better energy tomorrow, right? I'll be able to play football, flag football better next week when I make better decisions, when I invest in my body today. So many ways that it transcends just out of financial, aspect of things. Adam, is there anything we're missing that you want to say?
I don't think so. I mean, I think that um, if you have kids 10 to 15 years old, then I would highly recommend this. And I mean, I feel like I feel like I don't want to oversell it because it's for a charity anyway. Like it's $150 that goes to Front Row Foundation. So even if they didn't get anything out of it, it would still be nice. It would be a nice thing to do. Um, but they're going to learn a lot. And
Yeah.
before the podcast, John, you and I were talking, and you said, "Hey, what I appreciate about you is that when you decide to do something, you do it well." And I like to like I like to have that characteristic trait, and when I invited the kids of friends of mine, it put added pressure on me in a good way to like deliver the goods,
Yeah.
right? Because I don't want to show up like some schlub muffin without good material, and so I practiced. I did a few run throughs with a few different families, and developed the idea of having a handout and try to do some polls and make it interactive on Zoom. And and I got a huge kick out of this. It's rewarding for me as well. One of the parents said to me that um, they gave me a very high compliment that their son, I was able to pull him away of playing video games. Like he normally plays video. He was on every week on a 1 hour Zoom call learning about money instead of playing video games, and they were trying to convey what an extraordinary feat accomplishment that
Yeah,
was.
for sure.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah, and I also what I've realized among other things is that I really appreciate the responsibility of being the one who introduces these concepts to kids. I just think it's really rewarding that I can be the one, for example, to teach kids about the rule of 72. I can teach them about stock investing, or I can invite somebody in who is a real estate investor, and I can have that person talk about real estate investing. And it's just been very fulfilling and very rewarding. And so um, I hope that you take the time and your kids bring your kids. And I hope that we have too many people for the Zoom
Be a
format.
good problem to have.
I don't know how many that is, but I hope we have too many.
Adam, I will tell you as a testament to this, and as an idea to everybody out there. I mean, here's my idea. Let me lead with that. Make the donation, get the money camp, right, for your kids. Print out a certificate, draw a picture, whatever it is, print out the receipt, put it in a box and give that to them for a holiday gift, right? Give them this as a gift. And let me tell you why I suggest that. When I was between 10 and 15, somewhere in that range, my dad gave me a gift one year where he printed a letter. And I'll never forget, there was just a picture of a flock of geese on it. And I was like, what is this? And I opened up the present, right? Thinking that it's going to be some other material item for me. But instead, it said, Dear John, I made a donation to a family in need in a third world country. They will be receiving a flock of geese this Christmas. And that flock of geese will feed that family for an entire year. So I took part of what I would budget for you normally for your presents, and I gave some of that to this family. And I remember when I read it, there was a part of me that immediately responded, with like, this is bullshit. Right? This greedy little, person inside of me that just wanted more from me. But here's what's fascinating, Adam. I really can't tell you much about any present I ever received. I really can't. I mean, yeah, there was one year I think I got a skimboard, but I don't even remember if it was Christmas or my birthday, right? I'm hard pressed to tell you about presents that I received, real like what they were and how long I played with them or whatever. But as a 45-year-old man recording a podcast with his buddy Adam, I can tell you that gift I recall vividly, and that it's the type of gift that is only appreciated in value even to this day as a 45-year-old man. I'm more grateful for that gift than I am any gift my dad ever gave me. And that's saying something about the spirit of the gift that we give, even if it's not well received in the moment, and that the imprint and the impact that could potentially make. So again, guys, consider buying this, donating to the charity, printing out this thing, writing a letter perhaps, right, to a short note, 10 words on a piece of paper, like, hey, I want you to experience wealth and to share it with others. This is the pathway to do so. And let them ask what the hell that means, right? Like, let it spark a conversation, and let this be one of their gifts this year. That's my invitation. Adam, I want to thank you for being part of this. Thank you for leading the calls. Thanks for what you did for Tiger and all the others for Money Monday. And I'm looking forward to this one in January. So guys, again, text the word wealth to 512-379-6952. If that somehow doesn't work, just email our team. Rachel is our operations manager. You can email her, RACHAEL at frontrowdads.com, RACHAEL at frontrowdads.com. She will get you set up. You could even email, because it's supporting the charity, the Front Row Foundation's tied into this. You can even email info@frontrowfoundation.org. If you want to learn more about the charity, you can go check out their website, frontrowfoundation.org. You can just reach out to us. We make it easy to be found. We're on every social platform. Email us, send a carrier pigeon, whatever you need. You can find us. If you want to do this, you'll get it. And we'll have all this over at the show notes at frontrowdads.com. Adam, thanks again for the conversation today, and
Thank you.
forward to this.